When most people hear the word Iran, they think of headlines, tensions, and conflicts, a country reduced to its worst moments in a 24-hour news cycle. But here is what those headlines never show you: a country where you can ski in the morning and stand in a rainforest by the afternoon, where salt deserts stretch so vast that they generate their own weather systems, where a volcano taller than anything in the Alps watches over a city of 16 million people, where ancient geology built one of the most diverse landscapes on the planet. To understand Iran, you first need to understand its position on the map. Because Iran is not a small country hiding in a corner of the world, it covers approximately 1.6 million square kilometers. It is the 17th largest country on Earth. To put that in perspective, Iran is larger than the entire countries of France, Germany, Spain, and the United Kingdom combined. But size alone does not explain what makes Iran remarkable. It is the position. Iran sits at one of the great geographical crossroads of the world. To the north, the Caspian Sea, the largest enclosed body of water on Earth. To the south, the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, opening toward the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean. To the west, Iraq and Turkey. To the east, Afghanistan and Pakistan. Iran is the hinge point between the Middle East, Central Asia, and South Asia. Every great empire that ever moved through this part of the world had to deal with Iran, not because of its politics, because of its geography. And at the very bottom of Iran, where the country narrows toward the sea, sits a place you may already know from our previous Atlas Uncovered episode, the Strait of Hormuz, that 33-kilometer gap which controls a fifth of the world's oil supply. Built by the same tectonic forces that shaped everything you are about to see. To understand Iran's extraordinary geography, first you have to start underground. Millions of years ago, the Arabian tectonic plate began pushing northward, slowly and relentlessly, grinding into the Eurasian plate with incomprehensible force. The result was one of the most complex and dramatic landscapes on Earth. The land we now call Iran was shaped by that ancient collision. And this collision is still happening today, which is why Iran is one of the most seismically active countries on Earth. In 2003, an earthquake struck the city of Bam in southeastern Iran, magnitude 6.6. It killed more than 26,000 people in under 30 seconds and destroyed one of the most remarkable mud brick citadels in the world. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, gone in half a minute. The ground here is alive. And that geological energy built two great mountain systems that define everything about this country. The first is the Zagros Mountains, a 500-kilometer spine running from the northwest all the way down to the Strait of Hormuz in the south. The Zagros are fold mountains, meaning the rock layers were literally folded like cloth by the pressure of the tectonic collision. And in the folds of those mountains, trapped beneath billions of tons of compressed rock, lies one of the greatest reserves of petroleum on Earth. The same geological force that built the mountains created the oil fields beneath them. The second great mountain system is the Alborz, running east to west across northern Iran, forming a near-continuous wall between the Caspian coast and the interior plateau. The Alborz are compact but ferocious, not sprawling like the Himalayas, but dense, steep, and imposing. In some places, the drop from mountaintop to sea level happens in just 20 kilometers, one of the steepest topographic transitions anywhere on our planet. And at the heart of the Alborz rises something that stops every conversation: Mount Damavand. At 5,610 meters, it is the highest volcano in Asia, taller than any peak in the Rocky Mountains, taller than anything in the Alps, and it is not extinct. Damavand still has fumarolas near its summit, volcanic vents releasing gases into the frozen air. On clear days from northern Tehran, you can see this perfect white pyramid floating above the horizon, a city of 16 million people in the shadow of an active volcano. In Iranian mythology, the monster Zahak is imprisoned beneath Damavand for eternity. The mountain has been a symbol of Persian identity, resistance, and elemental power for thousands of years. Step back from the mountains and look at Iran from above. What dominates the interior is the Iranian Plateau, a vast elevated heartland sitting at an average of 1,000 to 1,500 meters above sea level, surrounded by mountains on almost every side, closed off from the moisture of the seas, and draining inward toward nowhere. Rivers that flow into this plateau do not reach the ocean. They flow toward the lowest points, and there they simply evaporate, or sink into the earth, or pool into seasonal lakes and vast salt flats. This is where Iran's two great deserts were born. The first is the Dasht-e Kavir, the Great Salt Desert. It occupies a massive swath of north-central Iran. But this is not a sand desert, not the kind you imagine from films. The Dasht-e Kavir is primarily a salt flat, formed by the evaporation of ancient lake waters over millions of years. Its surface is a shimmering crust of salt and minerals, broken into polygonal patterns, cracked and crystalline. Beautiful, but radical in its hostility. Summer temperatures regularly exceed 40 degrees Celsius. Winter nights drop below freezing. Rain is almost non-existent. And yet life persists here. Scattered oasis towns sustained by deep wells, and one of the most ingenious pieces of engineering in human history. We will come back to that, but first, southeast of the Dasht-e Kavir lies something even more extreme, the Dasht-e Lut. Lut means barren. And in 2005, NASA satellites measured a surface temperature here of 77 degrees Celsius, the highest land surface temperature ever recorded on our planet, anywhere, by anyone. But here is what nobody tells you about the Dasht-e Lut. It is strikingly beautiful. Its most famous features are the Kaluts, enormous wind-sculpted formations of rock and sediment rising from the desert floor like ruined castles, eroded into dramatic ridges and fins by thousands of years of wind. Some Kaluts reach heights of over 150 meters. From the air they resemble a vast alien cityscape, one of the most otherworldly landscapes on Earth, and almost nobody has seen it. It remains one of the least visited UNESCO World Heritage Sites of the planet. Living on the Iranian Plateau meant confronting one brutal problem: water. The plateau receives almost no rainfall. The rivers that do exist are seasonal and unreliable. The mountains receive snowfall in winter, but that water is often far from where people actually need it. For any civilization to survive here, an extraordinary solution was required, and the Iranians found one. They called it the Qanat, an underground aqueduct, a gently sloping tunnel, dug entirely by hand through rock and earth. These tunnels channel groundwater from the base of a mountain range across kilometers of open desert to a village or city that might be 50 kilometers away. No pumps, no mechanical assistance, just gravity and extraordinary precision. Qanats were being constructed in Iran at least 3,000 years ago. The technology eventually spread to North Africa, to Spain, to Central Asia, but nowhere was it developed more extensively than here. Today, over 37,000 qanats still function in Iran, some of them still supplying water to villages that have been inhabited for thousands of years. When people talk about Iranian civilization, they often point to its literature, its poetry, its art, but the qanats may be the most eloquent expression of Iranian resilience. The refusal to accept that the desert is uninhabitable. Now let us leave the plateau behind and head north. Because what happens on the other side of the Alborz Mountains is something that shocks almost everyone who discovers it. The Caspian coast of northern Iran receives between 600 and 1,900 millimeters of rain every year. In a country whose interior is defined by aridity, this is almost shocking. The moisture comes off the Caspian Sea. It rises when it hits the Alborz and dumps as rain and snow on the northern slopes. The result is a landscape of extraordinary lushness, dense broadleaf forests, rice paddies, tea plantations, and something most people have no idea exists in Iran, a rainforest, the Hyrcanian forest. Stretching 1,000 kilometers along the southern Caspian shore, this ancient temperate rainforest predates the last ice age. Some of the tree species growing here have been growing in this exact location for over 40 million years. While glaciers destroyed the ancient forests of Europe, the Caspian coast was sheltered by the Alborz, and so its ancient forest ecology survived, unchanged. It is one of the oldest continuously existing forest ecosystems on our planet. UNESCO recognized it as a World Heritage Site in 2019, and yet almost nobody outside Iran knows it exists. This is Iran, a country with a rainforest, a country where the geography is so diverse that crossing a single mountain range takes you from desert to ancient forest in under an hour. Now let us talk about the cities, because in Iran every major city was built where it was built for a geographical reason. Tehran, the capital, home to nearly 16 million people in its greater metro area, It sits on a gentle south-facing slope at the foot of the Alborz. The city tilts ever so slightly southward. Its northern districts climb toward the mountains. Its southern districts flatten toward the desert's edge, denser, hotter, and poorer. The mountains are not just scenery here. They shape the social geography of an entire city. Then there is Esfahan. At its peak under Shah Abbas in the 17th century, Esfahan was one of the most beautiful cities on earth. The Persians had a saying, Esfahan nesfe jahan, Esfahan is half the world. The tile work on the domes, deep blues and turquoises shifting in the evening light, is among the greatest achievements of Islamic art. And then Shiraz, the city of Persian poetry. Hafez and Sadi, two of the greatest poets in human history, both lived here. Both are buried here. And just outside Shiraz, less than an hour's drive away, lie the ruins of Persepolis, the ceremonial capital of the Achaemenid Empire, founded by Darius the Great around 515 BC. Today, Iran remains one of the most geographically significant countries on Earth. Not because of any political decision, but because of where it sits, between the Caspian and the Persian Gulf, between the mountains and the deserts, between the ancient world and the modern one. Its geology gave it oil, its mountains gave it water, its deserts forced its people to innovate. Whatever you think about Iran from the headlines, the geography tells a different story, a much older story. We started this video with images you did not recognize: a rainforest, a volcanic peak above a city of millions, an alien desert with the hottest surface on Earth, ruins of an empire that once ruled the ancient world, underground rivers flowing for 3,000 years. Now you know where they are. This is not one landscape, it is not one story, it is not one headline. As the great Persian poet Hafez once wrote, even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, you owe me. Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky. Perhaps the same is true of geography. When you understand a place fully, it lights up everything you thought you knew about it. Which part of Iran surprised you the most? Tell me in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you enjoy exploring places like this, places most people only see through headlines, then consider subscribing. There are more stories coming, and I will see you in the next one.